Hi friends, welcome back to our second night of our YouTube videos, and today we're going to find the MAD, which is known as the mean absolute deviation. If you're thinking about mean meaning average, and absolute deviation is the absolute value of how far the numbers are away from the mean that we calculate. And then the second part we're going to do today is to find the difference of the means as a multiple of the MAD. That sounds insanely difficult, but once we break it down, it's not so bad. So go ahead and have a piece of paper ready and a pencil. Be ready to pause your video a couple of times so that you can do the work. And let's dive in, okay? The first question that we have is this. The data below shows the number of items in people's carts at 2 grocery stores, and we want to find the MAD. So the first thing that we do when we find the MAD is we first have to find the mean of the numbers that we're given, okay? And so we're given two sets of data right here. We have store 1 and store 2. And our first step is to find the mean of each of them. If you remember that our mean is adding up all of the numbers and dividing by how many numbers that we have. So you're going to add up all these numbers in here, and you're going to divide by 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, because we have 10 numbers in our data set. So you can pause the video, find a calculator, go ahead and solve that really quickly. And for a total here, I found that there were 60 items total. Divide it by 10 carts, and so my mean equals 6. We're going to have to keep that number handy. We're going to need it for our next step, okay? We're also going to find the mean for the second set of numbers here. Most likely it'll be different. And so we're going to add up all these numbers, divide by 10 again because there's 10 numbers in the data set. And we go ahead and pause your video, calculate it, and then start again when you're ready. So for this set, I calculated that there's a total of 80 items in the cart, divided by 10 carts, and so my mean equals 8. And so this data set has a mean of 8. So to find the MAD, we want to find the mean absolute deviation. The absolute deviation is where we're going to start right now. Absolute deviation is how far a number is from a given point. And in this case, we're going to find out how far each number is away from the mean that we calculated. So looking at this data set, I want to know how far each of these numbers is from 6. And since it's an absolute deviation, I don't care if it's positive or negative. I just want to see how far away it is from the given number. So for instance, 7 is 1 away from my mean of 6. So I'm going to start a whole new data set. This is for my MAD. So 7 is 1 away. 2 is 4 away. 8 is going to be 2 away from 6. I keep on referring back to the 6 here to see how far away it is, okay? 6 is 0 away. Go ahead and pause your video and you finish the rest of the set. Got 3, 2, 1, 3, 4, and 0. All right. So this is the numbers that you should have in your second set of data set for the MAD. And so this M stands for the mean again. We want the mean of this absolute deviation that we just calculated. So to find the mean again, I want to add up all the numbers and divide by how many numbers there are. And so if I add them all together, I'm going to 5, 7, 10, 12, 13, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And so I have a total of 20. I've got 10 numbers in my data set, so I'm going to divide by 10. And my MAD is 2. Now that's finished. That's how you find the MAD. Okay? Not so shabby. We're going to do the same thing with this data set. Now, it's important to know that my mean is different this time. So I'm going to compare all these numbers to 8 to find how much they deviate from that 8. Remember, it's absolute, so we don't care if it's positive or negative. We're just going to calculate those deviations right now, okay? So 10 is 2 away from 8. 9 is 1. 4 is 4. 8 is 0. 10 is 2. 5 is 3. 8 is 0. 10 is 2. 5 is 3. And 11 is 3 as well. And to calculate that MAD, I need to also find the mean of that absolute deviations that we just found right here. So I'm going to add them all up, divide by 10, because there's 10 numbers in the data set. 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So my total was 20. I've got to divide by that 10 again in order to find that mean or the average. And so my MAD equals 2. Both of them are the same. Okay? And so my MAD equals 2. That's how you find it. Now, you're going to give this weird question once in a while that says, what is the difference of the means as a multiple of mean absolute deviation? That sounds like a mouthful, doesn't it? But if we break it apart, it's not so bad, okay? They want to know, what is the difference of the means? Well, think about that for a second. How do you find the difference of the means? Yeah, difference means to subtract. And so we're going to find the difference between the two means that we calculated over here. My mean for this one was 6, and my mean was here was 8. And so if I'm calculating the difference of the means, I'm going to do 8 minus 6, which equals 2. Okay? So my first step is going to be to find the difference of the means by doing what? Subtracting. Okay, find the difference of the means by subtracting. And then I want to write this number, my number 2, I want to write that as a multiple of the mean absolute deviation, or the MAD. I want to have some number, we don't know what that multiple is, times, because it's a multiple, times the mean absolute deviation, the MAD. We calculated that. That's our 2. Some number times 2 is going to give us our difference of the means, which is 2. So what number times 2 is going to give you 2? You got it. It's 1. In this case, our difference of the means as a multiple of the mean absolute deviation is 1. Got it? Sometimes it's not something that you can do in your head. Like this one you could easily do in your head. If I wanted to find what this value was here, it's an unknown value, it's essentially a variable, I would just get it by itself. I would isolate that. And so I would divide this side by 2, divide this side by 2, and I'd be left with some number equals 1. Make sense? Because these would cancel out. Equals 1. And so 1 would equal 1. Make sense? All right, so let's put this all together again. I'm going to give you some notes really quick that you can stop your video for, and you can record the steps for finding the MAD, and that will help you if you need to refer to it when you pause your video later. So go ahead, pause your video now, write these down if you need to. And here are the steps for finding the difference of the means as a multiple of the MAD. That second step here that I say divide the number by the MAD, we just did that mentally for that last problem. I'll show you how it's done in the next problem that we do, okay? When we review it. All right, so here is the second problem that we're given. You're definitely going to want a calculator for this one so you're not there all day, okay? All right, it says the data shows the number of points scored for 2 teams during their basketball seasons. We want to find the MAD. And so your first step, if you look at it, is to, you got it, you want to find the mean of these numbers here. And the mean of this data set, I'm going to add them all up and divide by 10, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 numbers in here. I totaled that up. I ended up with 650 divided by 10, and so my total mean was 65. For the second set of values down here, pause your video, go ahead and calculate it. Calculate the mean. All right, I totaled up the points, and I ended up with 605 divided by 10 again, and so I ended up with 60.5. I'm going to round that. Let's round it to 61. Okay, because it was 60.5 as my is my number there, okay? This time we're going to do that absolute deviation again. And so we want to calculate each one of these. You're going to start a second line to calculate that absolute deviation from 65. Go ahead and pause your video. And I end up with 7, 3, 9, 9, 13, 2, 3, 7, 6, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've got them all. And I'm going to find the MAD of that by calculating the mean of all of these numbers. And I ended up with 64. I'm going to divide that by 10 because there were 10 numbers. And my MAD is about 6.4, or it is 6.4. Looking at this number in here, I can calculate the same numbers versus 61. And I end up with 6, 1, 10, 8, 4, let's see, 6, 1, 4, 11, and 6. I did not calculate this one, so I'm going to have to get my calculator super duper fast and calculate them out. This one here, 6 plus 1 plus 10 plus 8 plus 4 plus 6 plus 1 plus 4 plus 11 plus 6 is going to be 57, which is 5.7 if I divide it by 7. So something's a little off here. My MADs are a little bit different from each other. And I know to calculate the other problem, I need to have the MADs be the same. So do you have a solution for me? I'm thinking the same thing. I think we're going to have to round these two numbers. If I round this one down and if I round this one up, my MAD would be the same. My MAD would be 6. Does that make sense for you? Okay, so now what we can do is we can take these numbers, the MAD, and our means that we have, and we can calculate the difference of the means as a multiple of the absolute deviation. Let me see if I can find that question again. Find the difference of the means as the multiple of the MAD. So looking at this here, I'm just going to do the work on the side. How about that? Okay, my first step is to subtract the means to find the difference. I have a mean of 65 and 61. So 65 minus 61 equals 4. Okay, and so 4 is going to, I'm going to divide that number by the MAD. I'm going to divide 4 divided by 6. That makes sense? I'm going to divide the number that we were given by the MAD, and I end up with 0.6 repeated, which would be 0.67. I can round it to that. Understood? You need that again? So when I do this part, I want to have my difference of the means of the multiple of the MAD. That's going to equal something. I subtracted the 2. That's going to equal something. I have the MAD, which is 6, times some number is going to give me 4. So in order to find out what this number is, I've got to isolate it. Okay? In order to isolate it or get it by itself, just like we would with a variable, I've got to get it by itself, and so I'm going to divide each side by 6. That cancels this out. I'm left with my variable. And on this side, I'm left with 4, 6, which is the same thing as 0.67 if I rounded it. Make sense? All right, my friends. So if you've gotten through this whole entire video, good for you. For tomorrow, you can come in today to tell me what color collar my dog is wearing. And she is wearing a pink collar right now. So if you tell me that my dog is wearing a pink collar, you will receive some extra credit for your test that's coming up on Thursday. Make sure that you ask some questions if you have them, and I'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.